No.
In progress.
Good afternoon, welcome to the City of Providence Board of Contractors and Supply Major Monday, February 27th, 2023. Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Courtney Hawkins, present. Council President Pro Tempore Bichardo,
Present.
Chairman John Gonzalez is absent. Chairwoman Helen Anthony, present. Sarah Silveria. Elaine Richards, present. Joseph Dakina,
Present.
Patricia Coyne Bade is absent. James Lombardi,
Present.
Jonathan Martin,
Present.
Dante Bellini is absent. Erlen Rogel is absent. You have 8 present and 4 absent. We have 4.
Entertain, motion to elect Ms. Chairperson.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Hearing no objections, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes have it. Please let the record reflect that we're joined today by Michael Lacey, citizen solicitor.
So noted.
I'd like to entertain a motion to move to section B, opening of bids.
Second.
Hearing no objections, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Section B, item 1, Department of Agriculture and Tourism. Vendors from design cultural heritage tourism program expired April 30th, 2024. And agree it. Vermont Council, $100,000. Cultural Equity Initiative, $53,600. Student Marketing Communications LLC, $99,500. Item 2, public community profit. Translation and facilitation of the family matters workshop.
There are no bids. These will all be drawn.
Item 3, Department of Parks Improvement at Public Park.
This has been extended to March 13, 2023.
Item 4, Department of Parks, the lead in park improvement at General Street Park.
There are 3 bids.
3 votes. Masonry Construction LLC, $420,000. Tech Corporation, $365,130. Yardworks Inc., $398,450. Item 5, Department of Parks, Run Canada.
There are 3 bids.
3 bill. Builders Inc., $1,598,000.
Can you repeat that, please?
$1,598,000. Bentley Builders LLC, $1,772,292. Aaron Construction Company, $1,817,000. Item 6, Department of Public Property, 444 IT server room.
This has been extended to March 3rd, 2023.
Item 7, Department of Public Works, City of Providence, on-call sewer integrated repairs blanket contract 2023 through 2025.
7 days.
7 days. RP, I have a Son Inc., the unit price bid. The unit price bid. So it's on a price, it's a price per service. So we have a quote that was served.
No, you're not, that one, I'm sorry, it's actually 15.
Yeah, but I didn't know where to go. It's not that for
I'm sorry, we're in the middle of a meeting.
I was shocked that.
Okay.
Sorry, and if I can go someone.
I would be the person that you speak to, and you have to 2:15 that one. I'm sorry, if you want to wait till the meeting's over, I'd be happy to speak with you.
Okay,
Okay,
all right.
Richie Drainline Company Inc., unit price bid. W. Walsh Company Inc., unit price bid. Oil and Jewelry Construction Company Inc., unit price bid. RT Management Inc., unit price bid. Park Zappa Corp., unit price bid. Camber Construction Company Inc., unit price bid. Item 8, Office of Sustainability, Youth Climate Justice Programs.
5 bids.
Five. CC Solutions Center for Environmental Sustainability, $14,680. Family Services of Rhode Island, on behalf of South Providence HEZ, $17,730. Flores, fiscal health and urban heights, $20,000. Fifteen-minute field trips, $10,250. Ecological Society. $12,884.46. 9, water supply board, rebid watershed surveying services expires 6/30/2027.
1 bid.
Ocean State Planners Inc., $241,300. Water supply board, BRT cycle and disposal services expires 6/30/2025.
There are no bids, it's been dropped by the department.
Item 11, water supply board, area funds pumping lock will be used expires 6/30/2026 with a 2-year option.
There are no bids, this is also dropped by the department.
Item 12, water supply board, IT managed services expires 6/30/2026.
6 bids.
PBI LLC, $44,807.89 per month. System, Innovation Inc. $1,183,324 per year. TBNB Inc. doing business as Vanford. Year 1, $240,694.98. And what's in year 1 behind your contract? Software of America allocated $576,000. Managed technical research and unit testing. Item 13, Department of Public Works, interested suppliers of snow exponential services, 2022-2023.
There are no bids, this will remain on the agenda until further notice from the department.
Are there any undepartment? Let's go see if we have all bids. I'd like to entertain a motion to refer all bids to the neighbor.
I'll make that move. Second.
Hearing no objection, all in favor? I'd like to entertain a motion to move to section C.
Make that move. Second.
Hearing no objection, all in favor? Guys, have it, okay, to entertain a motion to approve the advertising section C. Okay. Hearing no objections, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? I have it. I'd like to entertain a motion to approve section A for review. Hearing no objections, all in favor? Aye. All opposed? First time Chairman. Anthony, other, items to next review.
Question, number 11. So my question on these, I know that this is thinking back. State of West. Is that because they're showing a lower price at 6 months in the city, or why is it that nothing else to do?
Sure.
I think actually it's enough, so we did obtain 3 quotes for that. Under contract, and that was the lowest quote for the 4 workstations.
So is that you have your own bidding RFP program?
No, so in the city purchasing rules is we have to get 3 quotes. And that was the lowest quote under the contract. And it was under a contract and we figured that.
So do you submit? I'm just trying to understand in a sense. All these bids come through this process. So
It's an approved purchasing cooperative from the Rhode Island Attorney General's office.
okay.
And when it's an approved purchasing cooperative, we're allowed to get 3 quotes, and this quote happened to be the lowest.
So may I ask a question? So they're going to follow up the approved cooperatives as Omnia.
That is correct.
Oh,
Now,
can I just follow up? So is that what the purchasing rules are? Is there some purchasing anything that we get to that? If that's news to me. I'm not asking you, I'm asking if there are purchasing agent.
These new rules came out on February 15th. That's
What's the question? Is that the new rules? First.
When did you know Chevelle? You haven't. As far as yes, that's the Chevelle, anything before I say,
Yeah,
I don't want to speak at the turn.
just to clarify, so when it comes to piggybacking the Omnia project, once you meet Omnia contract. This is already been approved by the Plain State MPA, in which these are the vendors that were already certified and approved. And so if we're going to be basically cookie cuttering a portion of that contract for us to copy, we need to actually reach out to the vendors that were approved per that contract, and we are going by the rates that were approved in the contract. So we're getting the same rates of that original contract.
But I think the councilman's question was, Pro Tem's question was, does that guarantee the lowest bidder? Which the answer is no. Is that correct?
other than going out to bid for the stations. Yeah, I mean, other than not piggybacking.
Are you questioning the ability for the city to use this state MPA contract?
No, other than you're saying if we went out to bid per se.
This question was,
Yeah, I'm just questioning whether are we getting the lowest, and saving money, or if we just completely, because I see some of these piggyback. Also, utilizing the state NPA, and I also see references to Massachusetts, so we just wanting with like a word, just trying to get more with this, just go with the process that's already in place versus just putting it out to them. If they go through this process and try to see if we get better pricing, and then of course, the money would be so
So my understanding is that the use of an MBA is an allowable strategy because those contracts are bid. They're vetted by a government entity. They are competitive. So I think it's like a question of, you know, in this case, for a $12,000 contract, should the department redo that process to bid again, or, you know, should we use an NDA structure to make it move more quickly?
Yeah.
My understanding, the city has been doing this for a long time. I think the council would like to discuss the use of MDAs moving forward and the changes to whether or not departments are doing that. We can certainly have that discussion, but it's my understanding that it's a process that departments have used for a while.
I think that could be a discussion that we could have forward. For a couple of reasons. One, just to ensure that there's some type of savings. One, two, at least if we have this process of RFPs here, we can have more of that transparency locally. And then the third is, you know, when you look at minority participation, then we get into the same, you know, we've been doing it this way. How can we actually hold people accountable, but also open that process?
We've actually been talking also about how we can help. One of our small business strategies should be helping minority businesses get on MPAs for exactly that reason. Because it does expedite the purchasing timeline for a department, but you're totally right that often folks don't understand how to do that. So we've actually started to have conversations about that as some of the small business investment dollars, responsive to your questions.
Thank you. I did have another one, okay, no, and another item, it's almost the same thing, piggybacking.
So we're not disagreeing, well, we didn't disagree with the piggyback, I just wanted to make sure that this question was answered, and this question will exceed. The other thing is, why are we having departments, and I know that this is I guess an interim struggle right now. Why are we having departments call vendors?
Often departments know vendors in their business specifically, so they don't have to call vendors, but as a way to get more vendors engaged. Often departments have knowledge of vendors that are specific to the work they're trying to be done, and so pointing vendors to opportunities or advertisements is something that departments can do to help ensure that we have multiple bids.
Okay, I agree with that.
That's a policy decision.
Right, but why isn't it the requirement of purchasing to do that?
No, it's a business decision.
Okay, so I guess I'll take a look at the charter and get back to you on that. But don't you find that if departments are calling, so that the department, don't you find that an internal control weakness? So you have a department who's actually saying we need the work done. And then they're going to vendors and asking them to do it.
There's still
Would
review
there
back.
be an internal control problem there? Why isn't it going to purchasing? Then purchasing at least is an independent person who's going out to bid.
I've heard this, and I've stated my feelings about this, you know, as someone who's procured nonprofit services for 2 decades, I know people in the nonprofit community, for example, that are expert at the thing I'm trying to procure, that would be different than what a purchasing agent might have. And so as long as everything is reviewed by a purchasing department, in this case, the vendor's on the MPA, so there's that control already.
I agree.
In another case, it's still publicly advertised, it's still come through this body, so I don't find it challenging to help encourage people to apply, to try to get more bidders than we might have in other circumstances.
I'm not saying if it's bid for this department, I'm the board, I agree with you. What I'm saying is when it's not bid for this
But
board,
in that case, it's been bid through an MPA process,
or it's less than 5,000.
or it's not a good financial.
Don't
Those
you find that that can be a problem?
I know.
Okay. Thank you.
Will say I was very happy to see 100% and the NBE on number 17. First time I've seen it. I was happy to see that. I haven't seen it before. I just had a quick question on there's one on number 2. Were those, new prices? And we have those new prices?
Trying to connect to you, item two, this is the one from the water company, but there is an amendment, I went back for an amendment for item two, and the amount should be $364,513. Instead of that 400,000. That motion, second. Hearing no objections, all in favor? You guys have it.
Yeah, I have Crystal Bossier, so senior manager. It's actually customer all of this process. It's happy to answer any questions about the process which got us to this recommendation.
Thank you. I haven't seen the supporting document, so I appreciate that. I think also we are going to address this issue. It's hard for police committee, I'm sure my fellow committee members to not view the documentation for we vote on it. So, is going to make sure that we have a package review.
Yes, so what will happen, once we get the packet from purchasing, that packet will be scanned in, that contains the supporting documentation. And be submitted to all the committee members prior to the meeting for their review. To implement that, starting at the next board meeting.
And can you tell me why it was that you selected the email? That's the recommended builder, which looks like the next two steps. Thank you.
Chris, take a seat.
So,
Can you just identify yourself at the record?
yeah, Christopher Lavoie here, I'm sitting in the. So to answer your first question, it's not a unit price bid, it is a, it's a piece of software, so there is a annual software maintenance fee, which covers support, it covers the software licensing itself. The majority of it is that there is also a, because this is the first time I'm purchasing the software, there is an implementation fee at the beginning, which is done in 4 parts of a little bit before the implementation, and as implementation gets approved, the different phases of the implementation gets approved, they get more money to the implementation services. The reason we went to the company that we did was because they were the only company that offers a direct integration with our current wealth management system software. The integration will provide us, it will eliminate a lot of duplicate entry from one system to another, or eliminate the need to build something to get the information from the project management software which we're purchasing into our work management system. And they also, one of the things that they offer was when you do integrations like that, most of the time they're not really supported integrations, but because their integration is kind of out of the box integration, it is actually supported. So as the software gets upgraded in the future, that integration is also supported with the annual software maintenance licensing that we have. Whereas if somebody else would build a special integration to it, as the software gets upgraded, you would have to go and continuously go back and make sure that your integration point is still working, which in the future would cost you more money and probably more than what they're offering the extra cost is. So.
Thank you. Number 19. I'm going to go to looking at this, so if anyone knows, public street design.
Yeah.
Thank you.
This has been, in the bond proceeds, there are money for, new public right of way on public street. And so in anticipation of that, this sustainability team got grant funding to do a, or 10% design process for their maybe community members to, conceptualize what that might look like. And then it would move to I think, a 50% design process, and then, if everyone is happy with the product, we move forward. And I would be happy to show you both the 10% design and the feedback, but these are community sessions they've been having to hear with folks about that waterfront space, which has been identified as a high top priority for the community.
Anything further? Second, the motion to approve items 1 through 21, section A with item 2 as amended on a roll call vote. Second. Hearing no objections, Madam President.
Courtney Hawkins, approved. Council President Kirkland Jargo. Chairwoman Ellen Anthony, approved. Chairman John Gonzalez is absent. Sarah Silveria. Elaine Richards, approved. Joseph Katina. Patricia Klein Day is absent. James Lombardi.
Aye.
Jonathan Martin.
Approved.
Dante Bellini is absent. Erlen Riddell is absent. We have 8 ayes and 4 absent. Motion carries.
I'd like to entertain a motion to inspection the minutes approval.
Make that one. Okay.
Hearing no objections, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, the ayes have it. The committee has been provided copies of the minutes from the February 13th, 2023 board of contract and supply meeting. I'd like to entertain a motion to approve those minutes. So moved. Hearing no objections, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed. Yes, have it. I'd like to entertain a motion to adjourn.
Make them.
Hearing no objections, all in favor? Meeting adjourned.
I will text you.